What's up, everybody? This is Jermaine Clemens, owner of Worthy of the Crown LLC, and we are here with another episode of Conversations Worth Having. And I have a special, very special guest today. That would be my mother, who is sitting down talking with me today on a number of topics. So I'm gonna love hearing about what she has to say on a number of things and soak up some of this knowledge that she has, and it's going to be a wonderful conversation, so stay tuned. All right. But Chicago, definitely a special place for me because that's where I grew up, on the west side. A lot of different places. I guess the last place is K-Town, is where when people ask me where I'm from, that's why I say the west side, K-Town,
yes.
because that was the last place that we lived, or I lived when I was there. So leaving home at 17, right out of high school, it was hard being young and going out on my own and stuff like that. It was tough. What do you remember about me leaving for the Army?
It was bittersweet.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to get along without you. Being the firstborn, that the firstborn to take a special place in a mother's heart. I just remember you telling me I believe you was like 16 at the time, you told me, Mom, I want to go to the Army. And I said, what? I said, you sure that's what you want to do? You said, yes. So I said, okay then. Only thing I can do is just, you told me I had to sign for you, but you wasn't old enough. I said, well, have the person come see me. Someone came and see me and talked to me and explained things and asked you, was you sure that's what you wanted to do? And you said yes. So I signed the papers and just left it in God's hand. And off you went. I was glad in a way, like I said, sad in a way because you was the oldest, but I thought the Army would be good for you. You wasn't a bad child, not hard-headed, thank God for that. None of your brothers was. But I thought it would be stability for you. And you being, I'm the mother, and me and your dad wasn't together anymore. So, a mother raising a son, she can only teach a son what she know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always good to have a father or a man in the picture. My dad was a good example of that. And I had uncles, 3 uncles that went in the service, so it did them good. So I thought it would be a good thing for you. And it did. It taught you discipline, a lot of things. Very proud, not sad about anything. I got used to you being not at home and being the big brother. And your middle brother, Clarence, thought he was the big brother. So it was all right. It was all good.
But I remember that though. But around that time, leaving and going to the military, being mad and leaving. But I remember I wrote a letter though. I remember crying writing a letter because I missed you so much. And it was totally something different, but you realize, as a kid, you think you know everything, but then you realize when you get out in the world, it's a whole different ball game and stuff,
Right.
So I remember that part, the difference between, hey, I'm rebelling against my mama, versus getting out there and nobody care about your feelings or whatever you're going through. You just need to do what's being asked of you, making no excuses or anything like that. So, but I do remember writing, I don't know what I said in the letters or anything like that, but I remember writing the letters, crying, missing home and all that type of stuff.
Yes.
So that was definitely eye opening, and but because one of the reasons I went to the Army, me and Ty had a friend in high school that was in the Army, and he talked about how good it was and cool it was and all that type of stuff. So me and Ty decided to go in together. Me and him talked about it. It was like, yeah, let's do it, And we signed up for the regular Army, signed up for 4 years, and then come to find out the other guy, he was in the reserve, so he was only doing it like on the weekend, and we was like, oh, we didn't know you can do it that way, but we signed up. But then again, I didn't want to go to college at that time, and but I did want to stay home because I just didn't feel like it was anything there. I would just end up getting in trouble eventually. It definitely taught me a lot. Like you say, discipline is the number one thing, getting the job done, despite any obstacles, getting the work done, the organization, the preparedness, all those things, I totally got that, from the Army. But growing up in Chicago, that taught me a lot. The little street side of it and all that type of stuff, the toughness side of it and all that. But for you, growing up, what do you remember about growing up?
Well, we lived at 3317 West Monroe. And I remember we moved in that house when I was 2 weeks old. My dad made sure he told me that. And there growing up, it's 7 girls and 1 boy. We only had the 1 brother, and boy, did we give him And my brother always carried me around with him everywhere he went, because when I was born younger, I had polio, so I wasn't walking. And back then how things was, I had the funny shoe boots, things on the legs and stuff, and only way I stand up is if you prop me up against something. And my brother liked to play a lot of ball, and he would just put me up on his shoulder and take me with him wherever he go to play ball and everything. And I remember every summer when school was out, my father took us to Greenville, Alabama. The station wagon or the truck was packed. The last day of school, we was ready to go. And we went there every summer, stayed with grandma and my cousins until school got ready to come back. So mom and dad, that would be their free time for them. Mm-hmm. And for us, we was there until maybe like a couple weeks before school started back, and they'd come back and get us. Though, but even growing up there, doing that every summer, growing up on the west side of Chicago, doing my days and my times, it was rough. It was rough. The gangs was really bad. I didn't go and live in Alabama until I was in my sophomore year of high school. But there was the gangs, there was the couldn't go do this and couldn't go do that, and it was a dividing line there. I stayed on Monroe, so anyway from Monroe going back north, it was okay for me, because that was a different gang territory. Mm-hmm. But from Monroe going back south, you better not go Adams that way, because that was a different gang territory. So you knew, your boundaries of gangs was real and different things though. But I thank God for my godmother and my parents that taught us, especially, godmothers are special. Some people think they just for to buy the kids something, but they there for a reason. God forbid anything happens to your parents, but they there to guide you along. Yeah. And I feel like kids, they have to have something to stand for. If they don't stand for something, they're going to fall for anything. And we were taught about God. And I love my godmother. She passed when I was like 10 years old, but she told us and taught us God will listen to a child's prayer just like you do an adult. You can pray and ask him for anything. And that always stuck with me. That's one thing that always stuck with me. My parents was God-fearing parents. My father was a hard worker. And he didn't go for school, but one thing he believed in was working hard. He always told us, if you want something out of life, you got to work for it. Nobody give you nothing, and it don't come free. They say it's free, but it's not free. So hard work and your word, that was just two things. Hard work and when you say you're going to do something, do it. Let your word be your bond, as he always used to say. And so that took me a long ways. You can't just follow anybody, because it's trouble is easy to get into, hard to get out of. And my father was a hard worker. My mother never had to work. She raised us. He was the breadwinner, and my mother was the enforcer, as we call her. She was the enforcer. So, she kept the house and taught us about things. A lot of things I just didn't agree with. I didn't like her role, but as you get older and stuff, you see why they said a lot of things that they said. And, everybody have a different way of raising their children. They say, I'm not going to raise my kids like my mother raised me or whatever, but I thank my mother for teaching me about prayer and about God. I thank her for that. Her discipline techniques was really rough, but they was there for a reason, But that even helped me, with my own children, my own 3 sons. I didn't believe in a lot of whooping, as they call it, or whatever, but when I had to put the belt down, I would. But I believe in a lot of talking and explaining things, why things was the way that they was, why I was doing this or doing that. You was the oldest, and you had a way of, one things your own way. And that I worked it a lot, and you was in charge of things. Clarence was the one that he didn't care. He just wanted to hang out and have fun. He had his godbrothers, whatever. He liked to hang with them and everything. So you and him used to get into it a lot about the housework and everything. Mm-hmm. And Thomas, being the baby, he just was whatever. He hung with you a lot, because Clarence, the minute he get up, he ready to go. He ready to go on Jackson and Central Park to be with his godmother and godfather. Yeah. But I'm helping them build, brush on us how to build this, and I don't know what he taught them, but I don't see it to this day. Because I don't see it. He's a very hard worker. I have to say that all 3 of my boys are very hard workers. They got that part down good. They got that down good, knowing that they got to work for what they want. And you, Jermaine, you had this thing about all of you all, about, oh my goodness, you all kept my phone bill ran up so high. Oh my goodness. Letting your cousins talk on call, collect, just click off from everybody. Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. If my phone bill in the state of Fab is $600 or $800.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you shoot, yeah, you cut that off. You need to get on us about that, man. That's a whole lot of money.
Y'all was just too slick for me. I used to unplug the phone from the wall and put it in my trunk to take it to work with me. I'm thinking that's doing something. They done went about, got them another little cheap phone from somewhere and plugged it up in there and be talking away. Joseph called from prison, he locked up. You talk to him for a minute, and call my girlfriend. You call the girlfriend, put the phone down on the freezer, and you go back outside. The boy be on the phone for hours and hours. I was like, oh my goodness, this just ain't gonna work. I tried everything with that phone. I said, oh, I don't even know what to do about the phone. You can't not have a phone there because I work, so I need to be able to contact them. So it got to be a phone in the house. I said, I don't know what to do. And used to say all the time, you work so much, why you can't never buy what I want? The way I used to do, y'all. I get one time, I buy this one, his stuff. Next pay period, I buy the other one, their stuff. And the next one, their stuff. That's what I used to do. Yeah. And you just couldn't see that. Clarence and Thomas was fine. Clarence, I don't care what you get him. He fine. He's paying jogging pants or whatever. He don't care. But you know, you older, you run around with the, little friends and stuff. You want that name brand stuff. I say, okay. I thank God for Roxy. I love her to death. Lord, she done went on head home to be glory with God. But she used to talk to y'all. You remember your cousin Roxy?
Oh yeah.
I used to tell her, I said, I just don't know. I just don't know. And I did not know why you stayed so mad with me. I never forget. We was at a family picnic, and we met Roxy again. Roxy, well, she knew us girls from being, little. She's our cousin. She remember us, but I didn't remember her again until we went to that family picnic, and it was in July. I can't remember what year. And, you must have been about maybe 13, something like that. And she said, I'm going to keep in contact with you. I said, okay. And I didn't hear from her again until that September, but she did. She called. When she started calling, she would call almost every day and to check and see how y'all was doing and everything. And I remember telling her that, I said, Jermaine and Clarence, I said, I don't know what's wrong with them. They just fight each other. Well, boys do that. They do that. I said, but they be fighting each other like they ain't no kin. Y'all broke up most stuff in my house. The dining room table was nailed together with a strong tree trunks and this and that, because y'all was breaking up stuff. Well, call me at work. Clarence, Mama, you better come get me. Now I'm in Bloomdale, you in Chicago. I'm coming. I'm gonna do something to him. You better come get him. I see y'all when I get out. But y'all used to stay into it and stuff all the time. And Clarence felt like by him being the middle child, he was being neglected. You was getting all the attention. Jermaine get all the attention because he the middle one. If it ain't Jermaine, then it's Thomas because he the baby. He the youngest one. But Roxy suggested to me, she said, I never forget, it was New Year's. She said, bring them back. Come to the house, y'all come over for New Year's. So we all three went over the house for New Year's, and she talked to y'all by yourself, you and Clarence. And then she called me and talked to her. And y'all opened up to her and really talked to her. You especially, you did. And that's when I realized, I didn't realize that you felt the way you felt about things, how things was going in the house. And so, and you was one of them ones that you didn't like. I used to tell you, well, Jermaine, I can't buy that for you right now. If you put it on the layaway, then I can get it out for you. You didn't want nothing on the layaway. You want your stuff right then and there. So after the conversation with Roxy and she talking to us and everything, she said, this is what you do. She said, set them around the table. When you get paid, put the bills there and put your check there. And ask them what should you pay and what you should not pay. And so that's what I started doing. You, Clarence, and Thomas. Thomas, he was just sitting there for to be sitting there because he didn't care one way or the other. He didn't know much what was going on. He could be about 3 or 4, whatever. But he was part of the family, so he was sitting there too. And I gave y'all my check. I said, here my check. Look at it. I said, here the bills. Right here, these are all the bills. Car note, light bill, gas bill, car insurance, and don't forget you gotta pay this and pay that. I put everything there. I said, now y'all tell me what to pay and what not to pay. You and Clarence had your pencils.
No, really, I don't remember this, but
Yeah, y'all had y'all pencils. And you sitting down, especially you, sitting down there and adding up and stuff, and then you say, this check ain't enough for to pay these bills. I said, oh. So your thing was, I was all the time working doubles, and I would work doubles, and then on my day off, I worked it through the agency. Mm-hmm. And you say, this ain't even enough for to pay that. And then you need gas money to get back and forth to work? I was getting paid every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And what about food? I said, y'all tell me what to do. That's what I do. And you sitting there looking at me and looking at Clarence. I don't know. I said, I don't know either. I said, why are you getting upset and stuff about me not buying you this and buying you that? I said, I have to put on a layaway and this and that. Then I say, I'm doing the best that I can do. After then your attitude changed. You see, with a lot of players and stuff, they keep a lot of things, from their children and everything. But by me just being a single mother in the house, there was no husband or whatever, so I had to be open with you. It came to the point because you was being so upset. You never talked back to me. You never talked back to me. You might have mumbled a couple times under your breath, but you never talked back to me and stuff. But after I showed you the bills and this and that, and you seen that it wasn't enough money anyway in the first place, pay the bills, and that's why I used to say, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. Somebody ain't gonna get paid because this got to get paid. You gotta pay rent. And I tell a lot of people that rent is your first thing. Before anything else, you gotta pay rent. Mm-hmm. Now then, if you got a car note, then that comes second. To me, that the main two things, because you gotta have transportation getting back and forth to work to make money. So you gotta pay your car note. Now you can get back with them lights and even gas bill, because I done did that before. Never the lights, but the gas. I say, okay, I can't do all this, so I'm going to not pay the gas, so I have money to do this. I did that even when your senior prom. I say I told y'all, I said I'm not gonna pay the gas bill. I want Jermaine to have a nice prom and everything, and I pay it. Get the gas back on before it get cold.
Yeah.
You said okay, and so that's what I did. So we have a nice prom though, but after sitting you all down and then you see that there I do the best that I can with the bills and everything, your attitude changed. Then that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna get him a job out there where I work at Elaine Boyd Crash, at the nursing home. I got you the job in housekeeping. Yeah. And that's when I said, going back to the telephone thing again, I say, Jermaine, I say, I'm gonna get you a phone back there in your room because you was out on the enclosed back porch.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Remember that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I say, I'm gonna get a phone for you back there. I say, I'm gonna pay the first and the second month bill because it used to be a lot when you get a phone installed. I said, after that, it's on you to keep your phone on. And boy, did things change with that phone. I bet you wasn't laying there accepting calls on that phone. You accepted the call from Joseph a couple times, let him talk for a few minutes. Okay, man, gotta go. Hung the phone up. You ain't leave it laying down there and everything. And one time, I even asked you, I said, Jermaine, I need to make a call on your phone. And you say, what? I said, I need to use your phone to make a call. How long you gonna be on it? What? Oh, I can't use your phone, huh? Different story because you gotta pay the bill now. So back then, when they first came out, I know the thing about the phones like these kind of thing, cordless phone where they had the big, we call them a brick phone, was big as I don't know what. It was antenna up there. That's what I was using. I ain't had a house phone no more, but I got the house phone if you. That's what I was using for me. And you know, you go back. They was really on the minutes back then.
Yeah.
You was like, I guess so. You was heeing and hawing and carrying on. So I said, oh my goodness. And another thing changed with you too is that you finally say, okay, mama say she can help me get whatever I want if I put it on the layaway. And you was paying part on it, and then I would pay the other part on it and get it out. Yeah. We conquered that. But you had your and like I said, I didn't have a lot of trouble. I didn't have a lot of trouble. You every now and then would get kind of like big head or whatever, and say you don't want to do. With the dishes was y'all thing. Y'all just did not want to wash the dishes. It always was. Clem said it ain't my turn. You said it's your turn. It ain't your turn. It's always a big thing and stuff. And I'd be like, don't look at me, because I ain't washing no dishes. And you say, I wish I had a sister so she could wash the dishes. I said, well, there ain't no sister here. So a couple times, you probably don't remember this, but you paid your auntie Tiny to wash the dishes for you a couple times. I say, whatever y'all say, that's what y'all do, but not,
Guess that was when I was making that big money then out there. That was $5 an hour. I remember that being out there. That was some money back then.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I was balling. That little $5 an hour I was making.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I mean, because you know, a lot of that stuff I don't remember. I guess as a kid, you know, you don't know the struggles that your parents have to endure to make things happen. I definitely always knew that you worked a lot. Like that was the thing. You know, I remember having to get us ready for school and all that stuff, and getting to school, making sure we got on the bus or whatever the case was, and everything. You know, I remember a time it was snowing and we missed the bus and walked to school, and that's when clans got frostbite. I got in trouble for that. Like, why y'all walking to school? Like, you know, but you know, stuff like that. And I remember, so like one of the things that resonated with me is the way that you provided for us. You know, I don't know all the goings ons and all that type of stuff, but you know, just one day I just remember just being hungry, you know, and you brought us some home to eat, you know, and but we was eating and you wasn't, you know, and so that just always stuck with me. Like, yo, she's, you know, she making sure we getting fed. I mean, I don't know if she didn't eat. I mean, I guess I wasn't thinking about that part of it, but I do remember you feeding us and we sitting there eating and you didn't have anything. So and so that always sat with me, you know, just being a provider, you know, for your kids and things like that, you know, and I stand on that, you know, today. Of course, now Tia 21 at this point, you know, she older, you know, and but I always provide, because even when, you know, me and her mom broke up, like it wasn't ever a thing with, you know, paying child support or anything like that. When, you know, you hear so many stories about guys not doing it or anything like that, that was never a thing, you know, that never crossed my mind not to, you know, just because I got that, you know, from you, just, you know, taking care of, you know, your kids and doing whatever you know, whatever you have to do. And, you know, I don't know you know, how many hours, you know, you work the day or whatever, but, you know, I just know, like, you know, mama going to work, you know, just thinking back on it, you know, type of thing. And I remember wanting stuff, you know, I remember when, you know, the used jeans and the cross colors and all this damage and machine and British Knights and LA gear boots and all this stuff was coming out and everything. And one thing I do remember though that I love, I remember when you started sewing clothes and you made us some short sets. I remember it was in the summertime. We had this green with these flower color, cause like these short sets was in back then with the, you know, the collared top or whatever, button down with the matching shorts and stuff. And I was super proud of them. You know, we all, you know, dressed alike, you know, all of us. And but you made it for us, you know, and that was good, you know. So I thank you for, you know, being the mother that you are and raising us the way you did, you know. Sorry for all the troubles that I speak on behalf of all three of us. All the stuff that furniture we broke up, and all the stuff, and all the troubles and all that stuff, you know, that we gave you. But yeah, you definitely raised three good boys and instilled some great values, you know, in us. Just going forward to pass down to, you know, to our children and stuff like that. So thank you, Mama. I love you for that, and you know, and we can pass that on down to our kids, so you can have some good grandbabies and all that stuff, you know. And so let's go back a little bit to what are, and you mentioned granddaddy's hard work, you know, word is your bond, you know, mentality. And do you know how granddaddy and grandma met?
Oh, not really.
Okay.
I don't know the whole story about how they met. I know that Daddy's sister, Aunt Rosie, one that's living in Florida right now, she's still living, bless her heart. She was dating one of Mama's brothers, and that's how her and your granddaddy met.
Yeah.
Because they was dating brother, and so he started dating her. Well, I thought granddaddy was born in Greenville, Alabama. Actually, he wasn't. I just recently found out last year when I was going through some papers and looking at his birth certificate. He was actually born in Georgia.
Okay.
I forgot what city, but yeah. And I know that he married my mother. She was 16, I believe. And she had a first child when she was 21. He brought her to Chicago. But Mama was the oldest of 10 children.
Okay.
5 girls and 5 boys.
Okay.
And your granddaddy was the oldest of, I don't know how many. It was just 2 boys, 3 boys, and I believe it might have been, I have to count them on my finger now for sure, maybe like 5 girls. And so that's about all I can tell you about them.
Yeah.
I know Mom's dad name was Solomon. I did meet him when we was home for somebody's funeral. I remember that. I did meet him once. I never met. And I did meet your granddaddy's father. I believe might have been like 13. I met him out at Uncle Pap's. His name was Clinton. I never met your granddaddy's mother because she died when she was young, 32 years old. So, and Mama's mama, she lived till she was like 89. So that's where that height and big feet come from. Mama's side of the family.
So what can you say about your brothers, one brother and sisters and stuff like that? I know you said brother, as I know, as we call, and and I miss him because I remember him, growing up and going and hanging out with him, mimicking him, wanting to be like him, taking them long strides while we walking, trying to keep up with him and everything.
That's was him.
And he just, giving me advice, at a young age and everything, to, listen to you and all those things. And so yeah, I miss him and all my aunts, going over their house, and we were close, back then, because we would be nothing to go over to see house and and pillow fight with Teddy and Joe and Charles and Cindy and all that, and see Sharon and see Rachel, just see everybody, and just hang out and all that stuff. Dying and seeing Tony and Tim and all of them, but growing up, who was who was the I guess who was the leader? What was the dynamic with the sisters? Back then.
Honey.
It's, with all these girls in the house and one guy, like what was that like?
Oh my goodness. With all them sisters and that one brother. Brother had the special room. He was very particular about keeping things clean and neat.
Mm-hmm.
His room stayed
Yeah.
clean. He loved it, comic books. Comic books and baseball cards.
I guess that's where I get that from.
He had so many of them and could draw.
Yeah.
He loved to draw and everything. And I used to think it was a treat if he let me came in that room and sit on his bed and look at TV and read his comic books. Oh, he'll let me read some of them. He'll give me some and stack them. Okay, now get out and tell them, you're not tear his comic book, because if you tore one, oh, you ain't getting that reading another one. You're not going to see them. And he would let me read his comic books and stuff, and I say, I'm through with Mr. Marvel and Superman and all them things and stuff. So he you know, he was cool. He took up for us, but we were getting them times too where all of us sisters would jump on him. For what, I don't know, because we still couldn't handle him because he was throwing us here, there, and everywhere. Everything and stuff. But Cynthia was the oldest sister. And oh my goodness, I used to call her hand the stitching cord hand. Because she could hit you with a hand on your arm or something, and it would sting so bad. So bad, so bad. So, you know, she looked after us and everything and made us do everything. Me, Diane, Sharon stayed in trouble because she always trying to get out the house. Mama goes somewhere. Daddy was always working. Daddy was a cook, a chef cook. He worked in downtown. Then he did construction on the side and built things and remodeled and everything. So Daddy was gone pretty much all day and half of the night. He didn't get in till almost like 3 in the morning sometime. And but Cynthia made sure that we did our chores and stuff. Sharon, of course, gonna get out and go be with her friends 2 doors down. And I don't know what she do that for, because she knows she gonna get it. And so I used to feel so sorry for her. I say, Sharon, where you gonna go do that when you know you gonna get a whooping when Mama come back? You already got one from Cynthia, you gonna get another. Back then, you do something and your neighbors tell, oh, first the neighbors done got you, they whoop you, then when you get home, you gonna get another one. So it just wasn't no getting around that. And my job on Saturdays was to press everybody's hair. That was my job. Wash the hair, dry the hair, and sit out on the white bucket and sit there and let me press your hair. And then Rachel had that sandy hair that she said that I wasn't pressing her hair like the others, because where her hair was shining and straight like that. When you got that red sandy hair, your hair ain't gonna come out like that. So we used to all the time be into it about that. Sharon used to get mad. She'll let you press hair, but she didn't want you to get her edges. Now how you got pressed hair and your edges is nappy? So if she wouldn't let me get her edges, then I'm in trouble with Mama. So I'm gonna get a whooping because I didn't do her hair, like Cynthia hair, and Diane hair, and Helen hair. And it was always something. And Sharon used to get so mad after I did hers. She didn't like the way I did it. So she'll go wet her hair, make it back nappy. So we was always fighting about that. Me and Sharon, we fought a lot. Me and Daddy, we didn't get into it so much. It was Cynthia was older, then it was brother, then it was me, then Daddy, then Sharon, then Helen, then Rachel, Sadie, then Tiny. So Tiny, I didn't have too much dealing with Tiny because she was the baby girl. But the mothers, Rachel and Sharon, they was the two. And me and Cynthia, the oldest, of course, we fought a lot. Me and her shared a bedroom together. Me and Cynthia, we shared a bedroom together.
Yeah, okay.
Diane and Sharon, they shared a bedroom together, and Rachel and Helen shared a bedroom together. Brother had his own bedroom.
Yeah.
Then others was small upstairs though. But Mama was big on that cleaning, that washing. And besides doing the hair, my other job was washing the clothes. I was the clothes washer. And the way people wash clothes these days, I don't know how they do it. I cannot stand to see no white clothes that's dingy.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that. No, especially don't let me see some socks, white socks that, oh no, they got to be white. Mama didn't play that stuff. We used to boil, she used to have a big pot down south, grandma's backyard. She had the big black pot in the yard. And you put that hot water off in there with that stuff called Mr. Blue.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Mr. Blue. It's blue too, but it's a whitener. Put it off in that pot, that real hot water, and have that stick stirred around that pot with them sheets and stuff. Oh yeah, that's what we did down south. Now at home, Mama had the great big old pot that we put on the stove and boil them socks and stuff in.
Yeah.
With Clorox and Mr. Blue and Mr. Whitening and all that stuff. The whites better be white. And the color clothes, the light colors better be light color. And you better not wash no jeans with no other stuff, dark clothes with dark clothes. Now, everybody wash everything together. My grandkids up in Chicago used to irk my nerves about that. They washed it all of the stuff together.
Yeah.
The white, the colors, and this and that. Oh, no. No. So, and see, back then, we had to iron everything. When I say everything, I mean everything.
Yeah.
The dish towels got ironed.
Oh, Lord. See.
Dish towels got ironed. Folds, put in the drawer. The pillowcases got ironed. The sheets even got ironed.
Gracious.
Everything got ironed, except the washcloths. But everything else,
Yeah.
they got ironed.
I guess that's why the other day you was like, you going to work like that with the
Yeah, boy, please, okay.
Okay, I'm in the factory, like I'm going in there. I'm about to get dirty and everything. So, you know. So who had the talent in the family? You said brother could draw. Anybody singers? Who's the funny person? Like who?
Oh, okay. Well, believe it or not, we all thought we were singers.
Okay, y'all ain't have no group or nothing.
Wait a minute.
I ain't heard this. Let's hear this.
Daddy played the guitar.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And we, the girls and Mama, we sing.
Okay.
And so, you know, we even went around to different churches singing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mama couldn't keep a note straight for nothing. She thought she was
Did y'all have a name?
No, it's just a Crenshaw family.
Okay.
That's it. But yeah, we used to sing, go around, you know, different churches and sing and stuff. And brother used to call himself playing the drums. We used to drag all this stuff around. But the funny person who was, well, brother could draw, Tiny could draw,
Yeah, I remember Tiny drawing.
and Sharon was always the clown.
Mm-hmm.
She was the clown. Her and Rachel.
Yeah.
Them two. They was the clown. Me, I really, my thing, I just really liked it. I used to have all the kids in the neighborhood used to come in the backyard with me, especially the girls and everything. And we always, polish fingernails or something like that. Now back then, you better not let nobody get in your hair.
Mm-hmm.
That was a no-no.
Yeah.
You would get beat to death if somebody else got in your hair besides your parents.
Oh,
your
really?
sisters. Yes, you couldn't. Yeah. So
Like what? So, I mean, just like why? What?
I don't know why, but they just didn't like that. They just didn't like other people in your hair, in your head. They said they get your hair, make you go crazy. I don't know. but so we used to, polish fingernails and stuff like that. But I used to always have all the girls around. Used to come, and so.
Okay, and so even with the big family, that's the one thing, by the house on Monroe and everything, that it was big.
Right.
Y'all had all the bedrooms and stuff like that, even though y'all was sharing bedrooms, of course. But I mean, shoot, it's 80 y'all, so
Yeah.
and but it was big. I remember the basement. I remember the backyard being the nice size and everything. So even when we as grandkids going over there and stuff like that, feeling like it was a mansion or something,
Right.
because it was so big. The upstairs, not having that, the places we lived to go to grandma's house and can go upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and the living room where you couldn't touch nothing, and all that stuff. Go in the basement and play around and all that, in the backyard, that was like, that was the thing,
Yeah.
And so yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun over there. Got in a lot of trouble, messing around with stuff we didn't need to mess around with in the basement and everything. But you said y'all used to rent out part of the upstairs.
Yeah. Sleeping rooms.
Uh-huh.
Sleeping
So
rooms.
y'all had Airbnb back. You know what Airbnb is?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just saying, I don't know. You got the Airbnb back in the day.
Yeah. Sleeping rooms. Used to rent out rooms for sleeping rooms, and had 2 kitchenette apartments up there.
Uh-huh.
Where that the bedroom, then you got the kitchen. So
Uh-huh.
2 kitchenette apartments up there, and then you had 2 sleeping rooms where a person just rented the sleeping rooms.
Yeah.
And even at one time, we even rented out the basement apartment.
Uh-huh.
Also, with the kitchen, living room, in the bedroom at
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So did y'all rent that out often? Like, was it somebody always in there, or like?
Oh yeah, people live that on a continuous basis, until I think they stopped renting when I was in the 8th grade. In the 8th grade, yeah. We even at one time had the basement. That basement area was a store. We had a store. We called it a candy store. We sold candy and stuff, and pops and eggs and flour and sugar like that. Yeah.
Who's in charge of that?
Mama was in charge of that, but who had to work in there all the time?
I guess y'all.
Me. Looked like I was one always stuck working something. Me. Used to get mad 'cause I couldn't go outside because I got to work the store. But yeah.
So that was like the neighborhood little store that people would come to and get stuff out of.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Did granddaddy thought to do that, or
Oh,
was it
yeah.
something my mama?
No, granddaddy.
Yeah.
Daddy was always doing something. He was always doing something. Yeah, he thought of that. Because when his work would get slow, his cooking job, he always kept that.
Yeah.
You know, but when he fixing things and all like that, when it would get slow, he used to first sell stuff out on the truck, in the big truck. He'd go sit somewhere and sell something. Then he's like, we're doing pretty good with that. Let me, we're not really, this is space out down here right now. We put a little store in there. He made up flyers and, you know, people in the neighborhood gave them to him and stuff. And so they would send their kids with their list and everything, what they wanted and everything. And the candy store, even when we were still being, because of school, it was like 6 doors down from mom and them house.
Right, I remember. Yeah.
There's John Marshall there, and there go Ferry there on that side. So at that time, we could come out for lunch. So we used to come home for lunch. And all the kids, they would swarm to the house. Instead of me being upstairs, because lunch, mom be downstairs in the store, and then she holler, Lady, I need you to come down here and help me. Kids, you know, they just buying stuff. I was like, dang, I can't even eat my food in peace and stuff. So, but when the games got bad, and because they had got to the point where they would come around during the time we was out of school for lunch to, you know, to around the school and stuff, and shooting and stuff, and kids got shot and everything. So then that's when they stopped us from coming out for lunch. You couldn't come home for lunch no more. So we used to come home for lunch or go to the Vienna's right up there on Madison. That was another good place. And Henry's hamburger stand. I used to love Henry's hamburgers. They was like 12 cents.
Oh, wow.
15 cents.
Yeah.
You know. But after that happened, they said, okay, close campus, no more going out. So they kind of helped me with the candy stuff.
Yeah.
But on Saturdays, only way I didn't get stuck in there on Saturdays is I had to do hair and stuff, you know. So that mostly was Cynthia mama.
Yeah. And with the so you mentioned you know, you mentioned the gangs and stuff. I want to kind of talk about the environment and stuff. What type of violence or what type of stuff was gangs into, you know, back then? Was it a lot of drugs in that area? Was it just what were they?
No, it wasn't a lot of drugs. It was a lot of stick ups, rape, and every so often you would start hearing about you know, shootings, but mostly they was robbing, you know, the stores and people, a lot of stick up of people. The neighborhood where we lived in there, that block was, it wasn't the gang members living in that block. They was coming from other blocks.
Yeah.
Down, because the school, like I said, the school was right there and everything, you know, and trying to get people to join the gang and everything. Like I said, it was a lot of robbing stick up, and they was doing a lot of rapes. We used to have in the area where we lived at, that territory was called Black Souls. And the vice lords used to come over, and that's where, you know, to hang out. Well, we had a house there on the street that was run by the Black Panthers. At first, I didn't know what the Black Panthers, you know, stood for. I didn't know what they was, when they was there in the neighborhood was quiet and everything. But once they left out of the neighborhood, that's when all the other stuff happened. But they had programs there at the house, art, kids was around, all the time. When you're not used to seeing people wear these different hats and whatever and stuff, you don't know, because I, was a kid then, but I know kids was always there, and they did a lot of craft, arts and craft and everything there. And they was out, we would pass by there, always was nice and everything, but our parents didn't know, them some bad people and everything, but they wasn't.
Yeah.
But when they moved out of that house and out of the neighborhood, that's when we seen a lot of, the gangs come around.
You remember what year that was? Around what time?
That was in the 60s. It was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, during that era.
Yeah, you get a lot of people not knowing what groups stand for, or
Right.
hear something on the news about a group or something like that, and the media paint a narrative about a group, and you just assume like, okay, this is what they're about, and and not knowing all the ins and outs of what they're doing and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean that's good, that they were there doing what they were doing and being positive in the neighborhoods and stuff like that,
After school programs, they gave away food and stuff and everything, and like I said, that was in the 60s, the early 60s.
So it's 60. So what do you remember about the Dr. King assassination?
Oh my goodness. I never forget, we was sitting outside one of the projects, because like I said, we used to go around and sing though, but Mom and them used to have prayer services too. Just go different places, different people's houses and pray. And we were sitting out in the car, and they was inside at this particular person's house, and heard it on the radio that he had got killed. And after then, the days that followed, I mean, they burned down they just burned down the west side, I call it.
Yeah.
Because we had every kind of store it was. We was on Monroe, and the next street over was Madison. So that from Holman all the way down to Cassie, past Cassie, to Sacramento. The stores, the AMP, the Piggly Wiggies, the Gold Blacks, all the stores and everything. Furniture stores, everything you can name up, record shops, shoe stores.
Yeah.
They burned everything down.
Oh, wow.
Everything down. Madison, Pulaski, all the stores, they burned everything down. It had got something, I remember the National Guards. I was a kid. I was scared to death. It was no stores. It was one store, that Walgreens, that sat on Madison and Cassie, and it was a store right next to, I think it was called a Certified. I mean, they had broken the store stuff, but it was still where you could go in there and buy something. I'll never forget, I had to go get some milk. And back then, our milk was in glass jugs. And because the AMP, they had burned it up and tore it up, and so I had to go further. And I was just a kid, I don't know, 8, 9, no, maybe 10 years old, maybe. And the National Guard was standing there outside of the Walgreens, and I was just so scared and shaking. And everybody had to be, it was a curfew, so you had to be off the street, I think it was by 4 o'clock. And I told them, I was shaking. I just need to go in there and get some milk. And Mama had gave me a note with milk, the word milk wrote on it. And I went in there, and he said, go ahead. I went in there and got the milk. And I came out of there so fast, and I think I said, oh Lord, don't let me break this gallon, this jug of milk. Ran home and stuff. Because like I said, they just had tore up in everything. Yeah. And it was terrible.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about like what he stood for back then, like in real time, like what the feeling was when he spoke or, had things going on?
Oh yeah. I remember. He stood for nonviolence. It used to, when I used to see on the news how they was doing doing him and the people that was with him, turning the water hose on them and them wanting to march peacefully and how they did them and stuff, and I was like, oh my goodness, they doing this to them for real. And it just amazed me how he took, that he would never fight back and everything. He wanted equal, for people, all colors to be equal.
Yeah.
For the same opportunity for you is the same opportunity for me. That I remember. It models it to me these days. Some kids I have asked, do they know who Dr. Martin Luther King was? No. Or you don't know who he were? I mean, these are black children.
Yeah.
No, I don't know them.
Yeah.
Why you don't know them? Because nobody exposed you to them, and parents don't expose their kids to it. The school's not doing a very good job about it. But I liked what he stood for. I understood it because my parents told us about him when he, was alive and everything. Especially your granddaddy, he can go into some very deep conversations and everything about things. And one thing is he'd say, I'm not sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah. Just
tell it to you, like it is. Racism was back then. Racism, I done lived in that. I remember in Alabama, Greenville, Alabama, where, like I said, we went down there every summer. But when I went down there to live in my sophomore year of high school, I really seen a difference about everything around about that era. Even starting from, they had a Greyhound bus station at the time there in Greenville. They had a cafe there. And we went in to sit down, and we sat at the counter. And you was white people in there already. And we noticed it was me and Cynthia, your auntie, my older sister. And this was in 1972. And we sitting there at the counter because she had came down to bring some things for me, and she was going back. So we had got there early, for the bus, so we'd eat some lunch or something. So people coming in and they waiting on them and taking their orders. We had been sitting there almost over an hour, and the people just never stopped and asked us what we wanted. It wasn't like we were sitting at the table. We sit right there at the counter. And so she said, "Excuse me, we've been here sitting for a while. These people coming and you waiting on them. Why are you not waiting on us?" The lady said, "Because you are sitting in the wrong spot. Colored people do not sit here. You have to sit on that side." And that just blew me. We looked at each other, what? Yes, you have to sit on that side. So you go through like a doorway, you got to sit on that side. That's where the colored people be served at. And we say, okay, we don't want nothing there. Yeah. And then after being down there, another experience I experienced when I used to hear Dad and Mama tell us all the time, used to tell me, which we was brought up with manners. I always say yes ma'am, no ma'am. So that was no problem. I could say yes ma'am, no ma'am to, I don't care what color, whatever you is. One thing I have to say too, and Mom and Daddy never spoke to us about different, races, hatred, nothing. We always was taught you're supposed to love everybody. Mm-hmm. So that was something else that was different to me, just like blew me away. So when you go to town, yes ma'am, no ma'am, okay, fine. And so we was there in town with cousins, and my cousins say, "You want to get something from the restaurant and then you want to eat while we here?" Because we lived out in the country. We stayed out in the country, and so a bus will come, down through the country and pick you up at a certain time, take you to town. So you have to stay up all day until the bus get ready to go back. So, you mingling around town and everything. So I said, yeah, so I'm going to go walk up to the restaurant to order stuff. He said, no. You can't go through the front door. Huh? You don't place your order in the front. Well, where you place it at? We had to walk around to the back, outside around the back of the restaurant and order our food. And they passed it to us out the back door. Yeah. Oh, no. That was something else. I was like, oh my God, this is 1972. So, even to 1975, when you was born, I didn't come back to Chicago until 1976, I believe it was. But even to go to the picture show, they had a show there. Me, I'm from the city. I'm going walking up to the front, pay my money at the booth. My cousins, no. We don't go through the front. Huh? We go around the back and go up the steps we were sitting up in the gallery, whatever you want to call it. But that's where we looked at the movies at. So a lot of things, I was like, oh, I got to, I can't be. It was a big, changes for me. So I think that and back then they still had the party lines. Mm-hmm. The party line.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the party line?
The telephone.
Okay.
Pick up the telephone, go down midnight, somebody else already on the line.
Oh, okay.
You shared, so you had to wait. So that's no privacy, because I could pick the phone and be listening to what you're talking about and stuff. Wow. And my auntie used to get at me all the time and stuff and tell me, Lydia, not Lydia, because they call me Peaches down there. Peaches, you can't be saying that on the phone. Why not? You just can't be saying that on the phone. We have to live down here. You from up north, but we have to live down here. I said, okay. I guess I'm through talking on the phone then.
So were you outspoken about how you
didn't
agree?
Yes, that was one of the things. Well, she was always telling me I can't say that here because they used to say you Because one thing I would like when the sheriff or the police come to your house, whatever, and they just open the door and let them come in and search. What you let them come in and search for? You don't supposed to just come in. You don't supposed to just open your door and let them come in and search your house like that. You know, different stuff. I was very outspoken about different things that I didn't like and I didn't understand and stuff. And that place back then, they knew me very well. That's Miss Catherine's daughter from up north.
Okay.
When I first started going back down there after leaving from down there, it was some years where I went back. But when I remember when I first got into town, I stopped at the Hardee's there on the bypass. And somebody seen me in there. We was talking about pictures. You visited. Just got there now.
Mm-hmm.
Before I could make it to Grandma's house,
Yeah.
everybody knew Peaches was in town.
Yeah.
And one of the sheriffs say, "Howdy, Miss Peaches? How long you in town?" I said, I came for somebody's funeral. It was one of my aunt's funeral or something. I'm here for the funeral, and then I will be leaving. Okay, stay out of trouble. Don't cause trouble. But yeah, cause some of the things, I just don't understand it. Like even now, I just found this out when the other year, 2 years ago, when we stopped through here, then we went to Auntie's house, and they was talking about the election that they just had, and Mr. Crumb's son almost won for mayor. We wish he would have won it, but he just didn't get enough votes. If they would have let the people in the country vote, he would have been the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people in the country cannot vote.
Why can't they vote?
That's something I don't understand.
Yeah.
I asked Auntie when she said it always been like that. The people in the country can vote for the president of the United States, but the people in the country cannot vote for the mayor of their town. Just the people that lives in the city vote. And I said, this. I told her, y'all should have been changed. This is another whole era.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one. Well, they can't. But no, they don't. I said, well, okay, the people in the country can't vote for the mayor, but the mayor is the mayor for the whole county, Greenville, private city. Yes.
Yeah, that definitely don't make sense. That's definitely old school right there.
Yes, that's definitely old school, and I don't understand it, but I was talking to someone, Daniel, and that's Lee's boyfriend. He was like trying to explain it to me about. He said, "You think?" I said, "This is my first time I hear." He said, "No, that goes on a lot." He said places have their little set, whatever you want to call them, areas and territories, and because even out in Iowa they have certain parts are called territories, and it's not governed by the people of the city. Yeah, but that's very, very, very old school to me. I was like, I just found this out 2 years ago. I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay. All right. So, how did you meet James Earl Clemens?
I met James Earl Clemens, like I said, when I went down there going to school, sophomore. I think I was at the mighty Waffle House. The Waffle House was the place to be in Greenville.
Okay.
If you was at the Waffle House, you was in the mix.
All right, Waffle House. Shout out to the Waffle House. The way back when.
Yes, way back when. That's how I met him.
So what was that like? What made you, what attracted you to this young man?
He was a fancy dresser.
Really?
Yes. He could dress. He was a dresser. That would caught my eye with him. He was a dresser. And he had a real nice car though too. But a lot of them down there had nice cars though. But yeah, it just was, I guess, something about the way he carried himself and everything. Yeah. Because I had several young men that was pursuing me.
All right, hot mama. Okay.
So, but he was the one. He was the one. He came and asked my uncle could he take me out and did all the southern things like a gentleman's supposed to do. He did do that. And so we started talking. Going to the Waffle House.
Okay.
That was the hangout, and they had a pool hall there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Waffle House or either the pool hall where they shot pools at, sit around and talk and everything. But if you just wanted a real nice quiet moment, take me out to eat, the Waffle House.
Okay. So did you have like growing up? Did you have a thing that you wanted to do, or growing up, like, hey, I want to be a doctor, or like what aspirations did you have growing up?
What I wanted to be a nurse when I grew up.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to be a nurse in the Army, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was a medic.
My sister Cynthia went to Lucy Flowers, an all-girls school. And
I remember.
yeah. And so her bringing home her books and job opportunities, things like that and everything. And I started looking into nursing. I said, yeah. I said, I like to help people and everything. So I said, that's what I want to do. And like I said, my uncles was in the Army. They made careers out in the Army. And so that's just what I wanted to do. It was that between that and being a secretary. And Mom told me, she said, you don't want to be no secretary because they don't do nothing but tell lies.
Okay.
I said, oh, yes, because the person you want to see be right back there in that office and they tell you that they not there. She said, I'll tell somebody it's their job. They have to do that. No, they are like. But I always just like taking care. I want to be a nurse. And then changed my mind. I always still wanted to help, but experience I had with the last child, Thomas, in the hospital, I said, I still want to help people, but I want to do it on a different level. Because nurses have such a big job. And they don't really have the time to do what they need, do the other parts of what they need to do for a patient. And my experience was when I had Thomas and the nurse put me on the bedpan in the morning and got so busy, and at 2 o'clock I was still on the bedpan. And they were supposed to get me up to walk me because I had a spinal tap when I was in labor with him, and like my feelings didn't come back from the waist down. Didn't come back the way it was supposed to. And so they were supposed to get me up every day and sit me in the chair, and physical therapy was supposed to come walk me.
Yeah.
But that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, they had so much to do. And so that's what led me from being a CNA, certified nurse assistant, which I enjoyed, you know that.
Yeah.
Worked it 31 years doing that before I retired, 2020, because I like to get that extra care to people and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my thing.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a lot, a lot that goes on with, caring about people. And I've always saw that, it just seemed like you just had a caring heart towards, all the family members and stuff like that, and everybody, and, just taking care of everybody and stuff like that, and, so unknowingly, all that stuff kind of rubs off, because I've always, wanted to care for people and stuff. I knew, because I saw all my aunts and everything in the nursing, field in some capacity, and when I went into the Army and had the opportunity to be a medic, that was something that I hopped on, me and Ty both got to be medics and everything, and got to go to the same places and everything. So that was definitely a saving grace, having somebody that and went to school with, to be in this, this new environment and everything, making that part of it easier. So that was definitely something. What advice would you give to young ladies in this day and age?
Advice that I would give them is slow down. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. Always have a goal and a vision. You can accomplish anything you set your heart and mind to do. There are so many opportunities out there. And you have to know yourself first. Take care of yourself. Then you can take care of somebody else. But you have to set your own goals, things that you want to accomplish in life. Meet those goals, be building towards those goals. And like I said first, take your time. Rushing head on. Think about decisions that you're making. Ask for advice. Listen to advice. You don't have to take everybody's advice, but it's always good to hear different things, but do your own looking into things and exploring things yourself. Be able to take care of yourself. Don't look to nobody else to make you self-worth, because you are a beautiful individual, made person. And that's the advice that I will give to any young lady. Self come first.
Well said. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody else will appreciate that. Thank you for this talk. We are definitely going to have some more conversations. We're going to bring Tia on to join us, next time, and just have some 3-generational type of talks and everything. But I really enjoyed it, learning a little bit more about you and how you see the world and growing up and family and all that type of stuff. So it was really really an enjoyment. And so thank you, Mama. I love you. Give you a hug.
Love you too.